What's going on, guys? This is my post-ride review of the Aprilia Tuono V4. Gotta send a big shout out to Hunter, Tommy, and the rest of the gang over at Stub Cycles for allowing me the opportunity to bring you this motorcycle. There will be a link in the description below to my ride-along video so you can catch my reaction to this machine in real time. Alright guys, been looking forward to riding this bike for a very long time. I've got quite a bit of experience with multiple sport nakeds, but never ridden an Aprillia, and I've been dying to try one of these motorcycles out. And in looking at the spec sheet, I didn't really expect to be overwhelmed in any way, shape, or form. I mean, it's a 4-cylinder engine, makes about 175 horsepower. Been there, done that. Well, at least I thought that was going to be the case. Little bit wrong about that, guys. The way that this motorcycle develops power is not describable by the spec sheet, because yes, it says it develops 175 horsepower, but it doesn't quite ever tell you that it develops all of its torque right now just with the crack of the throttle. Guys, the way that this engine develops torque down low, and when I say down low, I'm talking at like 3,000-4,000 RPM. This engine develops torque in the same way that a big American V-twin would develop torque on that initial throttle hit. It's not a nice shove. It doesn't usher you forward. It punches you in the back to get you moving. And that is one of the most endearing qualities of this motorcycle. The way that this engine develops power, don't worry about what it makes on the big end. It's how this engine's power is so accessible all of the time that just cruising down the highway becomes an event. You just barely crack open the throttle and you are just transported about 50 feet ahead of you. And that's the fun part about this bike. Because its power is so accessible, you find yourself accessing it all of the time. Now, talking about the seating position of this machine, guys, I was on basically the top part of the balls of my feet, being just shy of 6 feet tall with a 32-inch inseam. It does have a bit more of a front forward riding position than, say, the new Hornet 1000 from Honda or the GSX S1000 from Suzuki. Both of those great bikes, but not quite as committed as the Aprilia is. Now, what that led to was a little bit heavier of a feel, where the other motorcycles might feel a little bit more playful, so to speak. The Aprilia is a little bit different. It carries its weight a little bit more solidly, if you will, and so you do feel the weight a bit more. Tip-in isn't quite as quick, but that's all fine and good. This motorcycle is got its own book of tricks, and I've got to tell you, that engine is one of them, but the noise of this bike has got to be part of that as well. Guys, in person, a V4 sounds so good, you can't really describe it. I understand you've seen it online, but guys, the noise this bike makes and the throttle response that this bike brings to the table is so rich of a riding experience. So, gotta at least give it credit for that. Now, in terms of rider modes and different gadgets and technology, it's got a really good quick shifter, although I would say that the one on the Suzuki is the best out of all of the bikes that I've ridden so far. This one is pretty close up there. As far as rider modes, well, this is one area where I need to be forgiven a little bit. So I had this motorcycle set up in sport mode. Now, I didn't go in and start to doctor up all the rider configurable modes like wheelie control, outright traction control. There's a bunch of different things that you can do with this motorcycle to really bring the demons out of it. I just had put it in sport mode and let her rip. And as such, the nannies were pretty prevalent. And, well, I did get slapped on the wrist on more than a few times with this motorcycle. But I gotta tell you, I've been told that once you reconfigure all of those settings, these motorcycles turn into pretty nasty creatures. But as I did ride it in only standard sport mode, it was a lot of fun. It kept a little bit of hooligan action in check while still letting you have a little bit of fun. And listen, for a motorcycle with this much power, with that much torque on tap, maybe it was for the better since this was my first time to ride this bike. So overall, guys, I gotta tell you, I had a ball with this machine. I'd never ridden one of these bikes before, and I can really start to see why some folks don't mind paying the premium when it comes to motorcycles like this. Guys, you have to understand, this is an Aprilia, so it's going to sit a little bit outside of what most folks would consider normal in terms of what they would pay for a bike like this, typically costing around, I don't know, at least 50% more than its competition. But look, one quick turn of the wrist on that throttle and you will know exactly where your money's been spent. So guys, so thankful and grateful for this opportunity. Can't wait to try another one. But with that, I got to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank y'all so much for stopping by. Don't forget to check out that ride along, and I hope to see you on the next one. Take care, guys.